Hi, I'm John Davies, Vice President of Intel. I run a program called The World Ahead, which is a digital divide program to reach everyone on the planet. And I'm also an ITU Broadband Commissioner.
John, what's the scale of the digital divide?
Well, about 3 or 4 years ago, 2 billion people could afford the internet, and let's say at $30 a month. This is unlimited, I can get as much as I need. And most of those were in the developed economies. And so over time, business models of prepay and much lower cost and lower cost devices have come in to help. What we've realized is people can have prices of $1 or $2 a month, get less internet but enough lower cost devices. That brings you into the 3rd billion and maybe just starts to touch the 4th billion. That means there's 4 billion people in the world that can't afford to have the service and own. And you have to look at different models because they need to access the services as well.
And what are the new models you're looking at in order to reach these people who are not able to afford the internet?
Well, there's 2 areas really that touch them. One is that far more people have mobile phones. You know, the 4th and the 5th and some of the 6 billion have mobile phones, and you can do more with them. They're not just for voice. You can do some basic operations. I'm a farmer. I can get the price of my crops. I am a child that really doesn't like to go to school, and I suddenly realize, hey, I can spell and learn to read and write on the phone, and I'm on the first rung of digital literacy. Or in Africa, there's a lot of use of SMS and phones for healthcare. And so there's areas that can do, but that's a limited area, but you can reach 2 or 3 billion more people. The other area is really in the shared access, where you look at how can I use my computers in schools or community centres or libraries to bring these to more and more people. Some of those exist. I've seen some brilliant models in India and Bangladesh, where in India there's tens of thousands of ladies that actually act as the agent in the village. Maybe they have 2 or 3 computers, maybe there's 2 or 3,000 people in that village, and they're the bank agent, microloan processing, bill paying, other financial transactions, or they're the government agent in the village, the national identity, the 100 days work guarantee, the registration so you can actually be part of the social program. Or a third area is they train people to use computers, and I've seen many of those ladies been trained that get jobs. I got a job in the mall because I learned to use a computer from my neighbour. And I see that where maybe they can earn $100, $120 a month, and it becomes a sustainable business. But it needs some government help to set that structure up.
We here at the Intel Summit, looking at these kinds of issues here in Cape Town, one of the discussions has been that voice was a very obvious one. Everybody knew they needed voice, but it's clear that people are either not aware of the internet or can't see how it's useful. Why do you think it's been much more complicated for people to understand why internet might be useful to them?
Well, it's a tougher concept than just I can talk to you and I can communicate. You're getting information there. And it's been, people just haven't seen it as much. And if you don't see things, you don't know they exist. And so it's really a case of showing. In some countries, the demand creation, like in India, if you need the work guarantees and you need to access the social programs, they say I need 1 digital literate person per family. And people realize I need access to this program because it benefits me. Ergo, if I can only get access on the internet or from someone that provides that service in my village, by definition, you get to understand it because it's a benefit to you. And so it's more that word of mouth, that moving it like
incentivizing it in some way.
It really is, and it's a case of people understanding it benefits me, so I need to use it. And people understand that in voice. It's so intuitive. It's been a little bit less intuitive in internet. I think the industry and governments need to reach out more and explain that to people, show them, but by programs that benefit the people.
And you're in a pretty unique position because you run programs all over the world. Give me 2 or 3 examples of things that have led to the breaking down of the digital divide that have worked very well.
Well, I've visited 110 countries and many regions in those countries, rural, so you get to see those. The example I had in India about the ladies that provide the banking services, the government services to the people in the villages where they just pay a small amount, it becomes a business for the ladies, sustainable. That's really is one of the best ones. That exists in Bangladesh, it exists in many different countries around the world. So that's a government helps you set up a process that can reach many people. I've seen countries, Colombia's been a very progressive country. Minister there believes I need to connect people. And it's been driving for that. And I've seen them use the universal service funds there to actually match the school computers. If this city or town invests in school computers, then they'll match it out the funds. I've seen the spectrum fees of the 4G being used in Colombia to actually provide tablets and a lower cost of service for maybe 1 or 2 years. So what we call the Class D Colombians, this is the lower income people that are 5% internet penetrated. And by this program, instead of the 4G license, there's going to be over 1 million tablets go to that Class D Colombians. Suddenly the penetration has gone from 5% to maybe 30% or more. And that population of people is suddenly in the economy.
You create a critical mass.
It gets enough in the economy, and then once you've got enough critical mass, people are watching. Oh, my neighbour benefited from this. Now, why can't I? What do I have to do to be part of this program? And once you see someone benefit, that moves in very quickly.
What about an example from Africa, which is where we are?
Well, in Africa, you've got a number of different programs. You see Kenya is leading in terms of getting laptops and tablets to the younger children. So they have a big program for doing that. Right here in South Africa, there is a big focus from universal funds, service funds, on connecting schools and government buildings and community buildings. The chairman just yesterday presented how they connect between 6,000 and 10,000 of these anchor communities every year, which is the schools, the hospitals, the libraries, the government buildings in the rural areas, so that people can actually access the services.
So what's in it for Intel?
Well, what's in it for Intel is reaching more people. That's our mission. We want to reach every person on the planet somehow with technology. Doesn't mean they will own it, but they benefit and access for that. And obviously when you're looking at a planet of over 7 billion people, the more people you can reach with technology, the better it is for the people, the better it is for the country. But it's also good for the IT industry. We get more customers, there's more data going for our servers, there's more client business, there's more network security business. It benefits all the business, but it starts with, it's got to benefit the people.